Hello, and welcome to another Whodunitville review of a mystery TV series. This time, we're looking at an episode from the classic series McMillan Wife. It stars Rock Hudson and Susan St. James as a husband and wife crime-solving team, with Hudson playing the San Francisco Police Commissioner, Stuart McMillan. The episode we'll be looking at is entitled Night of the Wizard. It aired on NBC as part of the NBC Sunday Mystery Movie lineup in rotation with Columbo and McCloud in 1972. As the story opens, we're told by Commissioner McMillan, by way of a conversation with Sergeant Enright, that McMillan has to hurry home to get ready to go to a seance being held by the mysterious Madame Zara. Now, normally McMillan wouldn't go to such an event, but this seance is being held to contact the murdered husband of one of the McMillan's closest friends, Evie Kendall, a woman who recently has been haunted by the spirit of her murdered husband. All this comes after the trial in which Evie Kendall was accused of shooting her husband with a shotgun, a charge she was eventually acquitted of by a jury. Apparently, though, there are those who still believe Mrs. Kendall was guilty of committing the heinous deed, including the local DA and the ghost of Arthur Kendall, Evie's husband, who has told her from beyond the grave that he's coming back to life to get revenge. Gathered at the seance are Madame Zara, Stuart and Sally McMillan, Evie Kendall, her friend Nora Dane, her doctor Eli Spake, and Harry Hastings, otherwise known as the Great Mandini, a stage magician who specializes in debunking fake mystics. It doesn't take long before sparks begin to fly, and Arthur Kendall's spirit manifests itself as a disembodied flying head crying out for his wife, asking, "Why did you murder me?" I really like this episode because of its spooky feel and all the bizarre special effects it has, especially later on in the episode when we see the Great Mandini perform on stage. It just feels like the production spent more money and time on this episode. The production also spent more attention to atmosphere than in some of the other episodes. Unfortunately, Mrs. McMillan doesn't have a lot to do here other than provide comfort to Evie Kendall as Evie's being driven insane. This is a common situation throughout the series. You'd like to think that Mrs. McMillan would have a more active role in helping solve the mysteries, but usually she's just there to be the loving, supportive wife that says something in the third act that snaps all of the puzzle pieces together for the commissioner. So has the spirit of Arthur Kendall really returned to haunt his wife? Is it a trick to get her to confess to his murder, or is someone really trying to drive her insane for another reason? Well, it can't be the real Arthur Kendall, because he's dead and in his casket. Mac proves that when he exhumes what was left of the body after the fatal gunshot blast. And according to Sykes, the medical examiner, played by John Aston, the dental records prove that the body is Arthur Kendall. Now, here's some interesting trivia about this episode. The stock footage of the Golden Gate Bridge is the same used in the credits of another classic detective series, The Streets of San Francisco. Almost all the houses seen in the episode are reused from Columbo and Night Gallery, as are several of the supernatural props. And Sharon Achter's character Evie Kendall shares a name with Eve Kendall from the film North by Northwest in 1959. If you want to watch this episode of McMillan Wife, you can find it on YouTube. And if you're a fan of spooky mysteries, I highly encourage you to check it out. In summation, I'll give this episode 3 Whodunit Owls out of 5. As I said earlier, I would have liked to have seen Mrs. McMillan do more in the episode, even if it was only for comic relief. She could have went off with her maid and investigated Madame Zara by talking to other psychics while McMillan and Enright talked to Hastings, or the two women could have checked on Dr. Spake. What was his angle in all of this? Could he have been the one who pulled the trigger on Arthur Kendall? Even without this possible addition, the episode is still very good and still holds up very well today. So what do you think? Have you ever seen this show before? Tell us in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this Whodunitville review, please consider hitting the like button or even subscribing to the channel to get more content just like this. Remember, the world is a mysterious place, especially in Whodunitville. Thank you.